Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thanks for watching another episode of Crypto Hot Seat brought to you by TokenMetrics.com. We've got something pretty exciting going on today. Not only is this the first ever episode of the interview show where we've had two people on at the same time, but today we are talking to members of BlockbusterDAO. I'm joined today by Tasafila, and I am joined by Miss Michelle Berrard, members of the core team who are doing what they can to bring Blockbuster not exactly back from the dead, but close to death. Guys, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us to talk about, decentralized media and making Blockbuster vital again.
Absolutely.
So I kind of want to start with Michelle because Michelle seems to be some kind of spiritual heir to this project, if I can be a little grandiose about it. Michelle, talk to us about your dad, Stephen, and how he was pretty actively involved in Blockbuster from 1987 till about 1995, 96. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. He joined Wayne Huizenga prior to the Blockbuster years, and they had saw these video stores in Texas, and they kind of went on this ride, and together they bought the Blockbuster stores, and they turned it into a worldwide brand. He was the CEO. My father was the CEO from '87 till '96. They had sold the company in '94, but he stayed on with Viacom for a couple years. And then, he was integral in building a store out. He always said every 17 hours for 7 years in a row.
Wow. Tasafila, I wonder if you could talk to us a little bit about how did this all get started? Obviously, everybody of a certain age has an immediate nostalgic connection to Blockbuster. But how did you go from Blockbuster is a cool brand and company from yesteryear, let's bring it back, but also let's do it in a decentralized way that's based on crypto principles? Where did this all come from? How did this get started for you?
Yeah. When I graduated college, I got a grant to do a film, an interactive film in which the audience was able to collectively choose stories like a Goosebumps book in the theater for the character in the film. And I was really inspired by the way that this kind of old venue can take on these new principles of technology. Is in that case, it was people voting on a film on their smartphones in a theater that's existed for 100 years in a traditional viewing audience. And over time, I've really taken a liking to combining old nostalgic elements or venues in this case, or housings in this case. For Blockbuster, it would be a brand, and adding a twist to it, or adding some sort of new element, new innovation or technology. And for Blockbuster, for me, I really saw this as the perfect crossroads of this kind of movement to reinvigorate 90s nostalgia and the Web3 community pursuing an untapped market in the film industry for creating better equitable compensation, better streaming platforms, better consumer experiences in the SVOD and TV on demand space. And I think the different ethos of each really aligned.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So people who are following BlockbusterDAO, we know a little bit about Michelle. We know that she's a fitness entrepreneur Michelle, your company's called Pivotal Fitness. Is that right?
So my father's company was Pivotal Fitness. I had joined up with him and partnered up with him about 5 years ago. My siblings also work within the business. That's located in Charleston, South Carolina. We have 6 locations. He had turned over the day-to-day to us years ago. And, unfortunately now with his passing, we're continuing on his legacy of that gym. I also own my own Title Boxing Club franchise in Orlando, Florida, which is actually where I'm at right now. So I apologize for being outside, but as
it looks beautiful.
Entrepreneur, I just have to be wherever I'm at and do these things. So I'm just sitting here on the curb and and doing this podcast. So yeah, here at Title Boxing Club in Orlando. And then I'm also working in a new franchise startup for tattoo shops, kind of to try to change the stigma of tattoo shops in the country. So, you know, they kind of get a bad rap, or have over the years. So we want to take tattooing and bring that customer service to it, kind of like where massage parlors got a bad rap, and then there came massage envy.
Uh-huh.
Kind of doing the same thing with tattoos.
Very interesting. Yeah. So by comparison, Tassa, I hope you can give us kind of a general, as much as you can share on your background, and then immediately attached to that, can you talk a little bit about why you're doing this project pseudonymously?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like for me, it really was the combination of a lot of different backgrounds that I've had. I've worked in the SaaS business, tech SaaS B2B space, and worked with a lot of partners in that space, including Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, working on high growth branded partnerships. And then I migrated shortly thereafter to the e-commerce space, where I worked with high scale, hyper growth e-commerce businesses, and worked in marketing, trying to just scale businesses as fast as possible. I went and then started my own startup, e-commerce startup, took it national. We had interest from Shark Tank. We had major partnerships with airlines. We were really successful. And over time, I really found that my calling, however, was towards Web3, in which I've since migrated myself and my time and allocation towards this project and my other side project, Super Infinity, which is more like the interactive film content that I described earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a bit about my background. And as far as the pseudonymous aspect to my identity, I think a lot of people share this feeling with me that by working in the Web3 space, it takes up a lot of time, and some of us do have careers and jobs to pay the bills. And for me personally, I don't want to muddy up my relationship with my employer by having, especially something so viral and so attention grabbing, make it feel like I'm, there's a conflict of interest, or have there be some sort of fallout with my current employer, which is a really fabulous relationship. So for now, one of the things I've always told everybody is I wouldn't raise a dime until I did dox myself, and I can assure everyone that I am doing this in good faith, and I understand the implications that people might read into when they see someone that's a founder that's anonymous, and that's something that I bear in mind every day.
Yeah, appreciate your candor there. Thanks for all that information. Speaking of raising money, I mean, let's make it clear here, just in case people who are watching this don't exactly know what BlockbusterDAO is. I broadly understand that this roadmap is about building a decentralized Netflix competitor. You guys want to win awards. It's ambitious as hell. It's
Yes.
super compelling. That is expensive to build. So we were talking just before starting this recording. The last public numbers about fundraising were you were endeavoring to raise $5 million to buy the Blockbuster name and things like this. But you're saying that number is no good anymore. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's amazing how in this space things are so fast paced, and growth is 7 years is in one day, and in the last 24 days. We've learned a lot, and we've brought a lot of people onto the team from all different areas of what the business can be. And we've come to learn that there's a lot of different ways to peel a carrot. And in this case, the original thesis of using an IDO to fundraise purchasing the brand is honestly probably not even the most efficient way to utilize that capital. And so what we've come up with is a few different avenues based on learning from those ahead of us, like Links DAO, Constitution DAO, and others, and viewing from both their pitfalls and their successes, and trying to structure a new type of fundraising effort based on those ahead of us. And I think that involves, somewhere a combination of private equity, an IDO, and kind of divvying up what those two parts of the business mean, and trying to structure a deal with Dish somewhere therein.
Yeah, very good. In terms of the day-to-day of what's going on at Blockbuster DAO right now, I imagine it's just a lot of people organized in a Discord. Michelle, would you mind talking a little bit in general about what the day-to-day is like at Blockbuster DAO? I know it's a kind of a side hustle thing, but what if someone joins and today's day one for them? What's going on there now?
Well, first of all, we just tell everybody to get involved, get in the working groups, get in the chats, ask questions, give ideas, because we truly want it to be about community. So we have all different types of groups, from branding to content ideas to legal to anything that you can imagine in business. And we have people contributing in those areas. So I think that somebody that joins the Discord, they can find their spot where they feel that they can be most helpful. But as Tasa said, we're moving like at the speed of light. So
Yeah.
Sure.
You miss a few hours and you feel like you've missed days.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about the physical Blockbuster store, the last one remaining in Bend, Oregon. Does that location play any role in Blockbuster DAO? Has maybe somebody's joined, like, I work at this store?
Yeah, it's pretty funny to hear people say, "Oh, well, I used to be a clerk at Blockbuster 10 years ago, and this means a lot to me based on these like super personal working experiences." And it's amazing how many people have been employed by Blockbuster and feel compelled to share their old membership cards and maybe even an old DVD that they didn't return.
What about anybody from Dish Network? Is anybody from Dish Network excited to be involved in the DAO, or is that just not happening yet?
That's definitely something that I can't talk about here on the call. Okay. But that said, I can tell you that we're really excited about moving forward with a really great product, and feeling very confident about what this project can do with as many parties that want to be involved.
So I tend to think about Blockbuster DAO as one of the three most visible DAOs to really emerge at the end of 2021. The other two are Constitution DAO and the Free Ross DAO. And I wonder if you guys, what lessons have you learned from those and other DAOs? What are you excited to replicate, and what are you probably eager to avoid, if anything, as a DAO?
Yeah. I think specifically with Constitution DAO, one of the great problems of like this, I don't want to say a SPAC, but this kind of acquisition DAO mentality is that DAOs are unable to, once you raise funds publicly on the blockchain, you have to play poker with your cards face up on the table. Mm-hmm. And that makes any kind of acquisition deal nearly impossible because you're always playing at a disadvantage. So there are solutions that we have seen in terms of raising money and being able to withhold certain, not that we would use these necessarily, but we've seen a lot of technology stem from these problems to try and provide solutions where you could have fundraising rounds and have those privately held until a certain amount of time after, and that would provide you a sense of with a sense of withholding those cards from possible competitors or other people trying to outbid you. So I think, especially with Constitution DAO, it was definitely, for me, I agree, it was one of the preeminent DAOs that we've seen, and it could have been super successful, but yeah, we've definitely learned that there is an aspect to DAOs where you are playing at a disadvantage by playing with your cards face up, and we want to make sure that we can help find solutions that give us a competitive advantage with centralized systems.
Gotcha. Now I know I want to ask you guys to kind of forecast many months or maybe even years ahead to a time when there is a finished consumer product that people can actually use to watch these movies that are, I presume, highly independently produced and are coming from decentralized server. What is the experience of this finished product going to be like? Is this going to be like an app on my Apple TV, or is it a mobile app? Or maybe this is even too early to think this way. What can you tell us about the finished version of this thing that doesn't exist yet?
Yeah, I think I could speculate, and probably, I think for all of us, our imagination kind of runs wild with what's possible, and I think that's kind of the beauty of the DAO. I think for me personally, one of the things that drives me every day to keep pushing on this project is bringing equity back to the artists. And I think the consumer experience will come naturally, and people will gravitate towards, a user experience and a customer experience that feels original and feels personal. And I think that's something that we can easily push towards. But I want to create an artist and a creator experience that allows creators to, from the inception of a project, to know exactly how it's going to be distributed on the back end, and to be able to write a screenplay and option it on the blockchain, and then take that screenplay and then bring it to producers, and producers could then deliver equity to crew and cast and investors to bring them onto the project, and everybody can be a part of a filmmaking project from inception to finish, knowing that on the streaming end, on the distribution channel, whether it's on your smartphone or on your Samsung TV or on your PlayStation 7 or whatever it is at that point, at that point, all those people will know exactly how much money they're going to get from streaming, and they'll feel confident that they can receive that money on the back end, and they don't have to worry about Hollywood accounting, right, or studios fudging the numbers. Everybody can feel confident the blockchain will secure that they get paid equitably, and I think that's what drives me every day, is creating that artist and creator experience.
Yeah, very good. Michelle, I feel like we're approaching the end of this interview. Is there anything that you want to get out there that's not out there yet?
No, I just encourage people that, right now it's, in that crypto space, that Web3 world, things that a lot of people honestly still don't understand and are just starting to learn or just starting to pique their interest. I would suggest getting involved. That's what I did. I jumped in, learning so much. And, we all come from a place that we remember Blockbuster, the nostalgia, the experience that you had when you went into a store. And I think that being part of this, you as a community, we can create this together. And I think that that's the most exciting part of it.
Perfect.
Yeah, don't be shy to get involved, even if you don't understand the crypto world.
Yeah, I mean, for us is we really want to just keep growing this community and bringing in new faces from different backgrounds, and kind of the beauty of the industries we're a part of in the group that already exists is that anybody and everyone can participate in some way, and that's also the beauty of Web3. Is we have musicians that want to get involved, and maybe we put on a live stream event where they can promote themselves and they can help promote us, and we can create engaging community events. And that said, we need writers to help with writing copy and helping us formulate our white paper. we need a lot of different hands on deck. And so I think I would just ask anyone listening that if you feel like you want to get rumors in terms of content and kind of upsetting these or overturning these streaming giants, we'd be more than happy to welcome you with open arms into our community.
Yeah, it sounds like the best way for them to probably get started is to check out blockbusterdao.org. Is there any other place you'd like to point them to?
Yep. Yeah, come to our Discord. Message me personally. I will respond.
All right, right on.
If you at me, I will respond to you and I'll have a conversation with you.
Well, cool, guys. Let's leave it there. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much to Michelle and Tassa from BlockbusterDAO for taking the time to talk about this exciting crypto-based project, and be very excited to pay attention to you guys going forward in 2022. Thanks again for your time.